So over the past few days, we've been talking about Bad Bunny and about his booking for the halftime show at Super Bowl 60. And there's been controversy, and there's been speculation, and there's been narrative going back and forth. There's been a lot of rage bait. There's been a lot of rage bait about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. This has led to some trolling. We saw some of this trolling yesterday, brought on largely by Bad Bunny's hypocritical statements about not wanting to perform in the mainland United States because of ICE doing raids and the potential of ICE doing raids. Even though we know that that's a crock, he did a 30-show residency in Puerto Rico, where ICE is based but a couple of blocks from the venue, from the Choliseo Coliseum. And he did 30 shows there while there were ICE raids going on and deportations going on. So we know that that's a crock. And we know that the real reason that Bad Bunny didn't do any shows in the mainland United States is because he didn't want to risk having to cancel a show due to poor ticket sales like he did in Minneapolis last year. So we know that this is fake. We know that this is a fraud. We know that this is hypocrisy and a narrative that the media, the sycophantic media, is all too happy to run with, which they've done, and we know this. And this has led to some trolling, and this has led to some reaction. And you had the senior advisor to the Secretary of DHS, Corey Lewandowski, came on and said that, in fact, ICE is going to be at the Super Bowl. There's no way that ICE isn't going to be there, blah, 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 blah. Okay. But did you know that ICE was going to be there anyway? ICE was always going to be at the Super Bowl. This was never in doubt. Which, by the way, it makes it even more hypocritical that Bad Bunny is accepting to sing, or if you want to call it sing, to bray, to bleat, to squeal at the Super Bowl. He doesn't actually sing. More like he bleats. Because ICE has been doing raids in Santa Clara, California. As a matter of fact, the Santa Clara County Commission had to get together, and they got together a couple weeks ago and prepared a contingency plan for how to deal with these ICE raids. So that makes it even more hypocritical. That makes Bad Bunny's story hold up even less. ICE was always going to be at the Super Bowl. So this announcement that when Corey Lewandowski came on, I think it was with Benny Johnson, and he said, "Yeah, ICE is going to be there." That was never in doubt. It was never in doubt that ICE was going to be there, and I'll tell you why. Because the Super Bowl is a national security special event. Maximum security, maximum federal security, maximum federal law enforcement. All these three-letter agencies get involved to make sure that this event goes on without a hitch, that there's no terror attacks, internal or external, that nothing crazy happens. And the Super Bowl happens to be a Tier 1, which makes it like the top of the top in terms of allocation for national security resources. Even more so if there's a distinct possibility that our president, the big sports fan that he is, decides to show up at the Super Bowl. It was always a given that DHS and ICE was going to be there. And what if I told you that ICE has been at the Super Bowl and this is nothing new? This is nothing new. ICE has been at the Super Bowl. ICE has always been at the Super Bowl. How do we know this? Because they were there during Super Bowl 51. If you could please thank you, Kiara. If you look at ICE's page, they were there at Super Bowl 51. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement will have a large presence in Houston, Texas, over the next week as the Atlanta Falcons and New England Patriots prepare to face off in Super Bowl 51. Everybody remembers the Super Bowl. This is the one where the Patriots came back on the Falcons. 28-3 at halftime. Remember that? That Super Bowl in Houston, Texas. And ICE had a significant presence. Not just ICE, but you had HSI, right? Homeland Security Investigations. And you had these guys, the ERO guys, Who's ERO, you're wondering? That is ICE's special operations kind of guys. Those are the guys that go in a tactical situation. These are the guys that you saw storming buildings in Chicago, getting rid of Tren de Aragua. So what I'm telling you is that there's already a precedent for ICE and for Homeland Security to have a presence at a Super Bowl. They were there for Super Bowl 51, and you're wondering who the halftime performer was. It wasn't J-Lo and Shakira. It wasn't Bad Bunny. It was Lady Gaga. It was Lady Gaga. Stephanie Ann Germanata from Uptown Manhattan. That's who your halftime performer was. So there, when you see these professional Latinos go out there in the media and cry about ICE and about is this in retaliation for Bad Bunny being there, as there's a lot of that going on the Spanish language side of things. No. And don't be a part of the rage bait. And if you're a professional Latino, don't be a part of the victim narrative. We are not victims. ICE is going to be at the Super Bowl because they got to be at the Super Bowl. And for no other reason than that.